Hey, what's up, crew? It's Dr. Jared again here at Health and Performance Center. We're going to do a Now You Know segment, and this time it's going to be on shoulder impingement. Now, a lot of people suffer from shoulder impingement, but it might not necessarily be that classic thing that you look on and see on WebMD. A lot of times people, because of postural situations, because of movement patterning inefficiencies, maybe a traumatic injury, will have pain on the front part of the shoulder. And if that's the case, then we know that impingement syndrome is something that we have to consider, as well as potentially bursitis, AC joint problems, or even biceps tendon or labral issues as well. Now, we're going to focus and kind of look at some of the anatomy here as to why someone might have pain on the anterior part of the shoulder, or the front part of the shoulder. And as we can see here, the long head of the biceps, which is the structure that is right there in the front part of the shoulder. You see that long cord that goes across the front of your humerus or your arm bone that goes all the way into the shoulder itself. That becomes the labrum. So if you've ever heard of someone having a labral tear, that's just generally that biceps tendon kind of starting to rip off of the shoulder joint from inside there. So that's when you have that deep shoulder pain. But just right above that is supraspinatus, and that is a part of your rotator cuff. And it is really the muscle and the tendon that gets impinged in impingement syndrome. So you can see how close and proximal those tissues are. So yeah, it might be a labrum issue, it might be an impingement. Who knows? It doesn't really matter because the rehab is all the same. And that's what I want you to remember. There might be some things in your history or some things in some orthopedic tests that we can differentiate between a labral tear, impingement syndrome, bursitis, or if we go even one level up, you see the acromion and the clavicle, which create the AC joint. All of those are very close to each other in the front part of the joint, and they too will also respond generally to the same type of care. Now, what is that care? First and foremost, we're always looking at three different parameters, and if whoever you're working with, if that's a physical therapist, a chiropractor, a physiatrist, or an orthopedist, they need to come from a three-prong approach, or at least a multifaceted approach of looking at the joint level and postural correction, as well as the muscular level in terms of healing soft tissues, as well as restoring length tension relationships. And what does that mean? It just means that all of the muscles are balanced in terms of keeping joints centrated and healthy. And what happens after that if you create good joint and postural awareness with chiropractic adjustments, good muscular health, as well as joint centration and force couples and tension relationships through Graston, ART, mobilization, and stretches. What keeps those together and what keeps that system healthy and strong and stable? Well, it's that rehabilitative exercise, that neuromuscular re-education that creates better movement patterning, better posture, so our body lives as intended, meaning it should be a self-healing mechanism. So what we do at Health and Performance Center is really focus on creating joint centration, joint health with chiropractic adjustments, really focusing on muscular balance and filtering that into movements. So regardless of whether you have an AC joint issue, bursitis, a supraspinatus issue with impingement, or a biceps tendon labral issue, or tenosynovitis, big term that just means there's some inflammation around that tendon, they generally respond to the same treatment concept, so we can handle them all. Hope this